It begins with nothing. No loud noise. No visible threat. No obvious reason. You're just sitting, driving, scrolling, breathing. And then something shifts. Your chest tightens. Your heart skips. Your throat closes. Your hands tingle. And a voice whispers, "Something's wrong." But you look around. There's no danger. No cause. Nothing. And that's when it gets worse. Let's talk about the invisible beginnings of anxiety. Most people think panic attacks come from stress, a fight, a trauma, a big moment. But the truth is, many panic attacks begin in perfectly normal moments. Calm mornings, boring meetings, dinner with friends, a quiet commute. The body reacts before the mind catches up. And then, the mind starts inventing reasons to justify the storm. You think, what if I'm dying? What if I pass out right now? What if I'm going insane? But the real question is, why now? Let's talk about the anxiety loop. Your body experiences a sensation, a racing heart, a strange breath, a wave of dizziness. Your brain interprets it as danger, even if the sensation was harmless. That interpretation triggers fear. Fear increases adrenaline. Adrenaline amplifies the body's response. And now, you're stuck in a self-feeding loop. Body panics, mind panics. Body panics more. Mind confirms danger. This loop happens in seconds. And once it starts, it's hard to escape. Let's talk about interoception. It's your brain's ability to sense what's happening inside your body. People with anxiety often have hypersensitive interoception. They notice every heartbeat, every twitch, every drop in blood sugar. But instead of interpreting these as normal variations, they see them as threats. So, a skipped heartbeat equals heart attack. A lightheaded moment equals stroke. A tight chest equals suffocation. And the body responds accordingly. Let's talk about false alarms. Your nervous system has one job: keep you alive. But in anxiety disorders, that system is glitching. It sends out distress signals, even when there's no emergency. It's like your smoke detector going off because of toast. But your brain believes the house is on fire, so it prepares for death, even though nothing's happening. Let's talk about early conditioning. Maybe no one taught you how to calm down. Maybe every emotion was labeled too much. Maybe your parents punished fear, or ignored it, or were afraid themselves. So your nervous system learned, feeling is dangerous. Now, even small emotions feel overwhelming, because no one ever taught your body what to do with them. Let's talk about anticipatory anxiety. You've had a panic attack before. You know how awful it was. Now, every calm moment is poisoned with one thought. What if it happens again? And that thought is enough to trigger it. You panic about panicking. Let's pause. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't invite the fear. But now it's here, rising in your throat, flooding your chest, narrowing your world. And no one can see it, because it all started from nothing. Your heart is pounding now, but you're not running, not lifting anything heavy, not in danger. You're just sitting, but your body is acting like it's seconds away from death. And the scariest part? You don't know why. Let's talk about what a panic attack actually is. It's your body's emergency override system, the fight-flight-freeze response, activated without cause. It floods you with adrenaline, prepares you to escape, diverts blood from your stomach, increases your oxygen, dumps sugar into your bloodstream. You were meant to use this energy to fight a predator, but instead, you're just sitting in your car, or lying in bed, or walking through a grocery store. And now you're shaking, nauseated, dizzy, numb, certain that something is very, very wrong. Let's talk about the hijack. The amygdala, your brain's alarm system, doesn't wait for permission. It doesn't ask the logical part of your brain if it's okay to freak out. It just reacts. Instantly. So by the time you think, "Am I having a panic attack?" you're already in one. Let's talk about the symptoms no one talks about. The feeling of detachment, like you're floating. The sense that nothing is real. The fear that you're going insane. The uncontrollable urge to escape. The overwhelming certainty that you're about to die. These are not exaggerations. They are core features of panic. And even when you've been through it before, it doesn't make it easier, because each time feels like the first. Let's talk about shame. Anxiety doesn't just make you scared. It makes you embarrassed. You feel weak, dramatic, broken. You cancel plans. Avoid crowds. Stay silent when your chest is screaming. Because the worst fear isn't just the panic. It's the thought, what if someone sees me this way? Let's talk about the collapse. When the panic peaks, when your mind is racing and your vision blurs, when you're sweating, trembling, choking, you start to wonder, what if this never stops? But it does, because the body can't stay in that state forever. Eventually, the adrenaline fades, the heart rate slows, the storm passes. But instead of relief, you're left with exhaustion, fear, confusion, and a question that cuts deeper than all the rest. What is wrong with me? Let's talk about the aftermath. Even when it's over, you're not okay. You might feel drained, foggy, unsteady, guilty, afraid it will happen again. You may isolate yourself, change your habits, stop going places where it happened, avoid people who were there, not because you want to, but because your brain now associates those things with terror. That's how panic spreads. It infects more than your body. It infects your life. Let's talk about how common this is. Millions of people have panic attacks, but few talk about it because mental suffering isn't loud. It isn't dramatic. It hides. Behind smiles. Behind routines. Behind, "I'm just tired." But inside, it's a war. Let's pause. The storm didn't come from nowhere. It came from within. A perfect, terrifying storm. Triggered by silence, fueled by fear, made worse by confusion. And now you're afraid to feel anything at all. Because last time you did, you almost drowned. The storm is over. But you don't trust the sky. You sit there alive, breathing, safe. And still you wonder, when will it happen again? Because if it came from nothing once, it can come from nothing again. Let's talk about hypervigilance. After a panic attack, your nervous system stays alert. It scans everything. Every breath. Every pulse. Every flicker in your chest or stomach or spine. It doesn't wait for danger. It assumes danger. Always. And the more you notice, the more you fear. The more you fear, the more you notice. It becomes a loop, a system built to protect, now turned against you. Let's talk about avoidance. You stop going certain places. Stop eating certain foods. Stop doing things that used to bring you joy. Why? Because your brain has linked those things to panic. So the park is no longer beautiful. It's where your chest tightened. The party isn't fun. It's where you felt faint. Your favorite song becomes the soundtrack of fear. And your world shrinks. Not because you're weak, but because you're trying to feel safe. Let's talk about safety behaviors. You start carrying water bottles, or sitting near exits, or checking your pulse every 10 minutes, or keeping your phone open to call someone. These are survival tools, little rituals that make you feel in control. But over time, they become chains. Because now your brain believes, I need these things to be okay. And without them, you feel exposed, raw, at risk. Let's talk about healing. Not quick fixes, not positive thinking, not pretending you're fine. Real healing starts with understanding that anxiety isn't irrational, it's protective, that your brain isn't broken, it's overactive, that your fear makes sense even when your logic disagrees. Let's talk about retraining the mind. This takes time. It means learning to feel without fleeing, breathing through discomfort, questioning your catastrophic thoughts, allowing sensations without assigning meaning. It means telling your brain, I know you think we're in danger, but we're not, over and over, until it starts to believe you. Let's talk about reclaiming your life. Slowly, you do the things you stopped doing. You return to the store. You go on that walk. You sit with the discomfort and stay. The panic rises, and you breathe, and it peaks, and it fades, and you survive. Not because you avoided, but because you stayed. Let's talk about trust. You begin to trust your body again, your breath, your mind. You realize that panic is terrifying, but it isn't fatal. That your body can be loud, but it can also be wrong. And more than anything, you begin to trust yourself. The version of you that didn't run, that stayed, that made it through. Let's talk about the truth. Anxiety attacks don't come from nowhere. They come from accumulated tension, from years of unspoken fear, from a nervous system trained to be on edge. You didn't ask for this. You didn't cause it. But you can unlearn it. Not all at once. Not perfectly. But piece by piece. Let's close with this. You are not your panic. You are not your fear. You are not the moment you lost control. You are the one who came back, who stayed, who found breath again, who looked into the dark and kept walking. And that is strength.